Hey everyone, Amari here doing another video for you. It's been a while since I've done one, so I figured why not do one on safety. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the Toyota Safety Sense and how this suite of bundled active safety tech can keep you from an accident, keep your family safe, save you money on insurance, and potentially save a life. So keep watching the video. I'm going to do a quick overview on what Toyota Safety Sense is, and then go through each individual function a little bit more detail to show you how it can help your family. So the Toyota Safety Sense is a suite of bundled active safety features that Toyota has installed on all their new vehicles. It's at no additional cost, so it doesn't matter if you get the $15,000 Yaris or the $85,000 Land Cruiser, you will get Toyota Safety Sense to some degree. It utilizes two basic systems. It utilizes a camera that is right behind the rear view mirror, along with a sonar that's behind the Toyota emblem. So we're going to go over the first feature, which I think is the most important, and that one is the PreCollision System with Pedestrian Detect. It utilizes both the camera and the sonar, and what the camera does is Toyota has installed about 15,000 different pictures of what pedestrians look like when they're crossing the road, whether it's a side profile, front profile, kid in the left hand, kid in the right hand, kid in both, and a dog, and a husband, and or a spouse or a wife. It doesn't matter. They've put in 15,000 different scenarios of pedestrians crossing the street, so the car's a lot smarter to know when it thinks there's a pedestrian in the road. So for example, you're driving down the road, this person's playing Clash of Clans, they don't know what's going on, their dog's not trying to go anywhere, just took a poop, who knows? This person doesn't realize that there's a car coming down the road, they're crossing the street. With the Toyota Safety Sense pre-collision with the Pedestrian Detect, mainly the camera will see that person crossing the street. There will be an audible beep in the cabin. There will be a big red brake sign that comes up on the little MID display between the gauge clusters, and it'll alert the driver that there is a pedestrian in the street. Please stop. And that function will only go off if the vehicle is going at a certain rate of speed and that pedestrian is closing in on the vehicle quite rapidly. So that's mostly when that scenario will happen. Now, Toyota can't say that it'll detect dogs, it'll detect cats, but I've heard stories of raccoons running across the road, a stray dog in the neighborhood, and the car has been able to detect that situation. With the pre-collision system, it mainly uses the sonar, detects the vehicle in front of it, and based on the velocity of your vehicle and the velocity of the car in front, it'll let you know when that distance is closing rapidly. For example, you're driving down the highway, you're doing 65, and there's something going on way up front. You don't know what's going on. There's 50, 60 cars in front of you, and traffic comes to a complete stop, complete standstill. I've known you've had this situation before. Before you even know it, the car in front of you is on your bumper. You got to hit the brakes. You got to slow down. You got to be able to stop, or else you're going to rear end that person. With the pre-collision system, your Toyota will let you know way in advance, before you can even react, that that car in front of you is closing on you pretty quickly, and you need to hit the brake. You need to hit the brake. You need to slow down. You need to stop, or else you're going to get into an accident. So again, that big red brake signal will come up on your MID display, along with the audible beep in the cabin to let everybody know that you need to stop. So that is what the pre-collision system is. I think it's one of the best systems, especially with the Pedestrian Detect, being able to detect pedestrians, let the driver know, and hit the brakes. And with both these situations, if it's too late for you to avoid the accident, if the accident is imminent, then the car will apply the brakes for you. Now, this is not going to prevent the accident, but it's going to significantly reduce the severity of the accident. So I think this is a fantastic feature. I love that Toyota puts it on all their vehicles at no extra cost. Some manufacturers require you to pay extra for something like this. And I think the government's going to make this standard pretty soon on all new cars coming in America. The next one, and I think is A good second is dynamic radar cruise control. I've driven from central Kentucky all the way to Connecticut. It's a 14-hour drive. It's a grueling drive. But the dynamic radar cruise control made that drive a little bit calmer, a little bit smoother, because I can just throw on the cruise control, and with the sonar in the front, I can set preset distances between myself and the car in front. So it allows you to have two criteria that the vehicle needs to meet. One is the speed. You can set your speed at whatever is the speed limit or lower for whatever road you're on. So the car has to meet that speed requirement. And then when you set the distance between yourself and the car in front of you, the car also has to meet that requirement. So it's one or the other. In rare cases, it's both, because it's either, you can't be going 65 and being able to keep that speed in front of you. So if you're driving down the road, you set your cruise control to 65, someone juts in front of you in your lane. If you have that radar set, the car will back off and create that gap. It will automatically create that gap between you and the vehicle in front of you, so that you have more reaction time just in case something happens. And in order to create that gap, it applies the brakes on the wheels. It applies the brakes, slows you down gently, to create that gap, allows you to just be safe and have a good proximity from the vehicle in front of you. Once that vehicle speeds up and then they are out of your set distance range, then the car will go back up to whatever preset speed you had set for your trip. So dynamic radar cruise control is great. It just allows you to be a lot more confident that if something does happen, your car has your back. It'll slow down for you, and it'll keep you from getting into an accident. The next one is lane assist. It utilizes, again, that camera right behind the rearview mirror. What the lane assist does, it detects the lanes in the road. The paint normally used on highways and back roads has a metal flake in it, so the car can detect that metallic flake, that reflectivity off of that paint. So say you're driving down the road, you're in the center, your cell phone drops in between the seats, something's going on in the back seat, who knows? There are so many different situations for why you would take your eyes off of the road. If the car detects you're too far in the lane, or if you're going into the other lane, the car will beep at you, let you know you're going over into the lane. That lane assist light will come on. And then if you have electronic steering, the car will gently push you back into your lane, keeping you centered, keeping you straight, and keeping you safe from whoever's over on your left, whoever's on your right. The only thing is the car has to be able to detect those lines. I've found that 90% of the time it detects those lines. But if you're driving on a back road where you only have that center line and you don't have a line on your left-hand side, the car will have a difficult time detecting it, so your lane assist function will not work. But I've found that 90% of the time it does work. I have a 2017 Corolla, and it does have this lane assist function, and I find that it works pretty well, especially on the highway. This is more of a higher speed function. It only works when you're going above 35 miles an hour. So the lane assist function is really good. The next one, and I found, is the pre-annoying function is the automatic high beams. You find that you're driving on a back road, it's really dark. You want to throw your high beams on so you can see farther down the road. Your high beams are on, you're traveling, you're enjoying yourself. And then another vehicle comes towards you, you forget your high beams are on, and you're blinding this person in front of you, and then they get upset they're getting blinded, so they're like, well, I'm going to blind you back. They flip on their high beams, then it's just a struggle to see who can deal with the high beams the longest. No, if you turn yours off, they might not turn theirs off. They're probably just pissed that you had your high beams on in the first place. But if that person comes, the car uses that camera, again, that camera behind the rearview mirror, to detect the headlights of that vehicle coming towards you, and shuts off your high beams. And it basically cycles between high beams and low beams depending on where you are, depending on the lighting conditions. If the camera detects there's no street lights, there's no cars in front of you, it's just a very dark road you're on, mostly back roads, especially in Kentucky, your high beams will go on. And then once you're in a higher lit area, or a vehicle's coming towards you, then it'll flick off the high beams just so you're not blinding that person and, you know, being that driver. This does work up to 2,000 feet. So up to 2,000 feet, it can detect headlights coming towards you. So it's a really great feature. I found that it works really well. I've stopped blinding people since I've been able to have my car. So auto high beams, great feature. And when your high beams are on you, it's harder to see where you're going. You know, it's harder to see where that curve is. So being able to not blind people helps them, and it helps you. Because, you know, you can have that peace of mind that, you know, you're being a respectful driver on the road. These next two features, road sign assist and the lane assist, is only available on the 2019 Corolla hatchback. The road sign assist, what it does is that camera is upgraded. You'll be seeing this camera on more 2019 models. This camera is upgraded, and what it does, it can read different traffic signs on the road you're on. So it can read stop signs, yield signs, speed limit signs, caution signs for just in case construction or something's happening like that. And it pops up on your MID display, that little screen between the gauge cluster. It lets you know that these signs need to be heeded, especially the stop signs. When you're in a neighborhood, you know, you're driving from intersection to intersection, you don't realize there's a stop sign at that intersection. Some are all-way, some are two-way stop signs. If you don't realize you have that stop sign, the car will warn you. If it realizes that you're not coming to a stop and you're just going to blow through it, the car will warn you. There's also the yield sign if you're merging onto a highway. And sometimes you don't know who has yield and who has the right of way. It'll let you know when you have that yield sign. The speed limit sign, I think, is the most important, you know, especially for us leadfoots out there. The speed limit sign, the car will let you know what the speed limit is in that area. It'll be able to detect that sign, keep it on your MID display. So when you're driving down the highway, you don't know if the speed limit's 65 or 70, in some cases 70 to 75, depending on what state you're in. It'll always let you know what the speed limit is on that road you're on. So rather than wondering, you know, if you're going too fast, or, you know, you can, you know, get a little bit more speed to get where you're going a lot quicker. Just look in your MID display and it'll let you know the speed limit. And the caution sign, when you're in a construction area, the caution sign is great because we all know the speeding tickets for construction areas are like twice as high. It's crazy, but it makes sense that you shouldn't be speeding in a construction zone anyway. So the caution sign pops up and it can show you all four of these on your MID display at one time. So if there's a stop sign, yield sign, speed limit sign, caution sign, I don't know when you'll see all of these at the same time, but it'll be able to show you those all on your screen at one time. So the next one is the lane trace assist. This is a upgraded version of the lane assist. So what the lane trace assist does, it uses both the camera and the radar to know how far away that vehicle in front of you is and know where the lines in the road are. So for instance, you're on the highway, you're going around the bend on the highway. It might be, you know, might be a small curve. It might be a, you know, a pretty wide bend. But it detects the vehicle in front of you and the lane and the lines to keep you more centered in your lane, keep you going around the corner a lot easier. So the lane trace assist, really nice and much better upgraded version of the lane trace assist is much better version of the lane assist. Like I said, these are only available right now on the 2019 Corolla hatchback, but you will see it on more Toyota models because Toyota always, once they develop something new, something that they see is safer, that can benefit the customer more, it'll end up on more vehicles. So this is basically the Toyota Safety Sense, PreCollision, Dynamic Radar Cruise Control, Lane Assist, Automatic High Beams. That's what Toyota puts on all their vehicles, no added cost. And you can get it for you. Keep your family safe, keep your passengers safe, keep pedestrians safe also. Keep in mind that these aren't guaranteed to work, but I found that they work pretty much 99% of the time, and it all depends on the situation, the condition you're in. But I'd rather much have them and know that they work most of the time rather than not have to rely completely on my somewhat questionable driving skills to detect pedestrians or wherever. So that's Toyota Safety Sense. This is the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please subscribe. Just click that little button below right here. Please subscribe to the video. I'll have more videos coming out pretty soon, just more information on Toyotas, some little tips, tricks, little features you probably didn't know about, upcoming vehicles, whatever. If there's a video I think needs to be done on the subject, it will get done. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video and have a beautiful day.